attaining Brahma, there remains nothing to be attained, no further peace to be sought, no further knowledge to be acquired. On attaining him, you realize that all objects created out of time, space, and individuality are already in you. You need not go anywhere else to attain him, because everything is sheltered in him. Nobody in this universe is shelterless. All are in his safe shelter. Sarvasya sharanam brihat. The Supreme One is the supreme shelter of all. Apani paru yavanu grahita pashyatya shakshu sa shrinotya karnaha savetti vidyam nacha tasyasti vatta tamahuraya griyam purusham mahantam. He is the unique entity, having no hands or feet, no eyes or ears, yet doing everything that is done by such organs and limbs. With his mental hands he plays with each and every object of the world. With his mental feet he moves everywhere. With his mental eyes he sees everything. With his mental ears he hears even the most secret thoughts of the human mind. He knows whatever is knowable, but no one knows him. So he is the greatest of all. And the uniqueness of that unique one does not end here. There is so much to be said about him that it can never be said. Anora niyan mahato maha mahiyanatma uhayam nihito sya yanto tamakra tumpashati vita shukho datu prishadan mahi manamisham. The capacity of human beings to receive tanmatras is limited. You cannot perceive a very slow or rapid vibration. Your capacity of perception is restricted to an intermediary stage between these two extremes. When someone whispers softly, or when something makes an extremely loud sound, you are unable to hear. You are unable to perceive the influences of very subtle objects, such as atoms or molecules, nor can you see something very big. The cosmic entity is much subtler than the subtlest objects of the universe, because they are the temporal, spatial, and individual expressions of his macropsychic connection. If you try to contemplate on them, or to speak of seeing them, your mind will lose its existence. Bricha tarivya mashintya rupam shukshma cha tatsukshma taram vibhati duratsurure tari hantikesha pashyat svihayeva nihitam guhayam. The effulgent entity is so vast that he is beyond your capacity of perception. So tiny that he is beyond your capacity of conception. If you think that he is very far from you, he will remain forever beyond your reach. If you think that he is near, he will be so near that you need not move even an inch to attain him. Those who call out loud to attain him wrongly believe that he is far away from them. However loudly they might call, their call will never reach him. To call that supreme entity, the mind must be introverted with proper ideation. The scriptures describe 3 types of incantation: vachanic, verbal repetition; upamshu, muttering repetition; manasic, mental supposition that he is far, far away. In muttering repetition, there is a slight movement of the lips, causing the incantation to be audible to oneself only. In the 3rd category of incantation, it is the mind which utters and listens to the incantation. No one even gets the least hint that you are engaged in Ishvara Pranidhana, cosmic ideation, a vital part of the spiritual cult. As among sadhakas, there is a popular saying, Malayape shala kar yape bai, man yape je bari hari jai. Inferior people count on their beads or fingers. The superior ones repeat their mantra internally. That supreme entity lies covered within your existential eye. One who is born is called Yantu. Root verb Yan means to be born. In every created entity there exists the existential eye feeling and the ever-wakeful presence of that supreme effulgent. The Atman, or unit consciousness, does not lie hidden in humans and animals alone. It also lies within the trees and plants, because they too have minds. They too have existential awareness. This fact was known to the ancient sages and proved scientifically at the turn of the century by the famous scientist Sir Jagadish Chandra Bose. The reflection of Purushottama on the unit existential life feeling is called Jivatma. To attain him, you will have to look within your existential life feeling. To run around in pursuit of him in far places is futile. Antarite naise ye antare ache. He lies not in the heart, but in the innermost cavity of one's existential life feeling. To attain him, you will have to become like him. He is devoid of the thought of enjoyment. He is bereft of all desires and visions. To attain him, you will have to think of him, to ideate and meditate on him. There is no other way to become one with him. As one thinks, so one becomes. If one thinks that one is a sinner or a thief, one will actually become a sinner or a thief one day. Never allow such negative thoughts to take root in your mind. Whenever you think of the Supreme. Your greatness will be determined by the greatness of the object of your thought or ideation. Salvation and the attainment of Brahma are synonymous. Only those who are devoid of desires and volitions, only those who are unblemished can embrace that supreme entity as their psychic paladin. To attain salvation through supreme intuitional knowledge is only possible for those people. By doing sadhana on him, by virtue of his grace, you will become one with him, and will overcome all your pains and miseries. You will attain the capacity to accept every worldly conflict as the playful expression of the merciful Lord. That is the stage of the attainment of Brahma. That is the state of a liberated soul. Vedahamitam majaram puranam sarvatmanam sarvagatam vibhutat yanmani rodam pravadanti yasya brahma vadino vivadanti nityam. The Rishi says, I know that immutable entity, Ajara. He is called Ajara because he is unassailed by the transformations which occur in old age, Jara, due to overwork or other reasons. The physical glands of the human body become incapable of functioning properly, and so it becomes decrepit. Any entity only becomes decrepit when it comes in contact with external objects through action. As Brahma is the singular entity, having no second entity or action external to him, he is beyond the state of decrepitude. In every action, the presence of three factors is indispensable: the doer, the deed, and the instrument of deed. Paramapurusha is immutable, Ajara, because the deed and its instrument originate from his, the doer's psychic body. As time, space, and individuality do not exist externally to him, the vibrations in the state of existence or functioning remain unsubstantiated. He is Puratma, the Ancient One, who existed before the beginning of creation and exists even today. He is Sarvatma, the soul of all souls, the one reflected on the existential I feeling of all entities. He is reflected where the existential I feeling is developed and where it is latent. All objects, even sand, stone, bricks, and wood, big or small, animate or inanimate, are blessed with the reflection of Paramapurusha. All are illuminated with his effulgence. All constitute his universal body. The one who knows the supreme entity attains the supreme non-attributional stance and is never born again. Such a person does not suffer the afflictions of the whirlpool of life and death. One who has attained his eternal stance, the essence of all emanations, attains the supreme state of eternal bliss. The realized sadhakas sing the glories of the supreme eternal entity.